Okay, Ashlika, can we start now?
Yes.
Hi everyone, this is Tanishka from Wellcure and I welcome you all in today's free masterclass on plant-based and gluten-free healthy baking with Priya Vijan. So before we start, I would really like to introduce Wellcure very briefly. So Wellcure is an online platform for all your holistic and your health needs. I'm very proud to announce it that we are now a community of more than 4.5 lakh people. We have helped 20,000 people in reversing their health as well as their lifestyle issues. We have 150 plus health programs, and we are also associated with 20 plus health experts. We at Wellcare provide holistic health education, medical and nutritional consultations, health retreats like Niramya and Swasthya, which are based on your overall well being. Basically, Wellcare is all about lifestyle, healing, and food. So, what we'll be learning in today's session? We'll be learning about the dangers of conventional baking, what is plant based healthy baking, and how to shift to plant based baking. Priya will also be uncovering some myths about plant based baking. And towards the end of the session, we'll be playing two recipe videos for you and one free recipe ebook of guilt free festive delights will also be shared with the people in the Zoom chat who have joined us for today's session live here. Let me introduce our today's program expert, Priya Vijan. She made it to MasterChef India Top 11 and she is a plant based baker. She is also a plant based food, health, and fitness enthusiast. She currently runs a home based bakery, Melted Down, which provides plant based, gluten free, refined sugar free, refined flour free, and nutrient dense confectionery. Over to you, Priya.
Thank you. Are we on recording?
Yeah, it's recording.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Good evening. I hope everyone's doing well. From where is everyone joining? Quickly. Chennai, Bangalore, Chennai, Bhopal, Bangalore, Delhi, Mumbai, Durgapur, Kashmir, Hyderabad, Goa, Hyderabad, Pune, Mumbai, Coimbatore, Chennai, Bhopal, Bangalore, Ludhiana, Kanpur, okay, Raipur, Calcutta. Okay. Jabalpur. All right. All right, guys. Gwalior, Trichy. How many of us here are following a 100% plant-based diet, or people who are vegans or who are in the transition phase? Just don't say me, but tell like what do you follow? Are you like a vegan or plant-based plus vegan? Because then I'm going to differentiate for a lot of people. Vegan, vegetarian, vegan, and gluten-free, gluten-free, vegan, Jain, vegetarian, transitioning vegan, gluten-free. Awesome. Vegetarian and gluten-free. Wow. Okay. Vegan and gluten-free, gluten-free. Great. So guys, lactose intolerant, all right. I'm sure gluten intolerant for some, transitioning vegan, and a lot of people, wow, whole food plant-based. I really bow down to those people. Great. So guys, this session will be recorded from now till the end, so don't worry. Beginning with my story, why are we here? I had serious chest congestion, migraine for about 10, 12 years, like all through my childhood and my early like teens, late teens, and even my college days. And I was an anti-allergic almost every single day. I stay in Bangalore. I used to wake up with a cold cough every single day, and I used to feel constantly sick. Okay. Only until in 2019, I was reading about a chapter about dairy, And yes, there are pros of it. The cons were very similar to the symptoms that I was dealing with. That is a congested chest, a constant inflammation, sinus, and stuff. So since the COVID hit, I got a lot of time to do this experiment of being off dairy and seeing if it really does make a difference. Honestly, I have to tell you, it just took me 3 weeks to realize that my medicine from one pill or every alternate day, one pill has gone down to zero. And that's where my realization typically started, because any medicine that you are consuming is a drug. I'm not talking about supplementation, I'm talking about medicines to suppress something that's not right in your body. Okay. And over a period of time, obviously, you get so accustomed to these drugs that you cannot do without it. So I took a pledge that I want to be off medicines, and my entire journey started in 2019. The entire transition started, but I was completely off dairy in 2020. So it's about going to be 5 years that I'm off dairy. It took me a good 7-8 months to do the entire transition, and only then I went ahead. So this is my story, and hence I was running a cloud kitchen since 2012. I was doing confectionery, and COVID hit. I got a lot of time to research, and a lot of people reached out to me that they had similar issues with them, and even they have quit dairy because of health reasons, or they're going vegan, just doing lifestyle changes. And I started connecting to a lot of people all across the globe. Teaching different ways that you can eliminate dairy and still eat good food without compromising. Yes, you'll be getting the recording, guys, of this session from the beginning till the end. Do not worry. We close the chat for now so that whatever I'm saying doesn't get interrupted. We'll just go with the flow, and later on I'll open the chat. You can ask me any questions that you want, or we can have like a casual interaction. Cool, Gokila. Cool. Could you please close the chat, Tanushka?
Yeah, it's done.
All right. So this is a little about my story in brief, and we go to the next. Okay, what is, every single day we wake up to a cup of chai or coffee, and some of us, or most of us, do have that have this habit of eating a biscuit or a rusk along with a chai biscuit, क्योंकि कहते हैं कि चाय अकेली नहीं पीनी चाहिए. All right, so there are, through the day, there is for sure that you are consuming some baked goods that you buy off shelf every single day. It could be rusk, cookies, bread, buns. All right, all this we are consciously and unconsciously consuming without having to think about it, because it's easily available, and then we can eat and it tastes great. All right, so that's how we tend to eat all the baked goods. We go to the next. Concerns about conventional baking. Now, I'm going to be focused here about plant-based, not about vegan. Now, what is the difference between plant-based and vegan? In plant-based, we are focusing more on the health aspect than on the cruelty or the planet side of it. Yes, it's a +1, irrespective to whichever you concern. But here we are talking food from an aspect of a health benefit. All right. Concerns about conventional baking. This is something that's known to all of us, nothing new. It is just that I'm being out loud and speaking about it a little more. There are saturated fats. A lot of baked goods tend to add, margarine, dalda, vanaspati in commercial baking. All right, hydrogenated fats, palm oil, right? And then increased amount of sugar, artificial sweeteners, glucose, maltodextrin, dextrose. These are all names for different kind of sugars. Conditioners are added to those to get that sponginess, the good rice that you tend to get in your breads and cookies and in your muffins and cakes. And known preservatives are added, known, unknown for us, because ideally we do not know what the preservative sometimes stands for, those codes that are given behind. We do not know that much of the chemical formula, okay? Unless you have been a chemistry geek, that's a different story. And there's excess use of food dyes, any color that you're seeing in the food, even with your brown bread. Okay, I worked in a commercial kitchen for a month or two to realize that the brown bread that we get in the market is nothing but the maida bread. It is just brown color added to it, and we happily eat it, thinking, okay, we're eating wheat bread. That's the conditioning that we have been having. And of course, these are nutritionally poor, because They are high only in maida flour, and it is nutritionally poor because ideally there is no amount of bran of fiber that really goes into our body. All right, all it does is just spikes up our insulin without giving any great nutrition. Yes, there are carbohydrates, but they're simple carbs. They're not complex carbs. All right, so we go to the next. Sorry, guys. Okay, when we buy bread, typically, all the breads do show these labels to us very clearly. When I'm thinking about bread, I will look at bread as flour, water, salt, sugar, yeast to bloom. We use sugar to bloom the yeast, and maybe some kind of fat. I would say oil. Okay, these are the 6 ingredients that I look at bread as. But apart from that, we have vital gluten, preservatives, flour treatment agents. We do not know the codes. We have emulsifiers, stabilizers, acidity regulators, very unknown to us. Okay, and we tend to consume because it has been selling in the market legally, and we tend to eat it, and it is great. Okay, so we go to the next. Yeah, what is plant-based healthy baking? Like I said, that my aspect is about focusing on the plant-based food which is vegan, more on the health aspect. Okay, because for me, my personal journey has started because of health. All right, then the other things get attracted to it. So what I see plant-based healthy baking as, has to be preservative free, loaded with nutrition and fiber, free of animal products. That means dairy, honey, meat, anything of that sort. It has to be natural ingredients, taste that promote health. All right, simple to make at home. I don't believe that baking has to be highly tedious. If you know how it has to be done, yes, there's basic kind of learning that goes into it, but eventually once you have learned it, you know the flow of it. So we go to the next. So how do we shift to plant-based baking? Certainly, I'm sure here I always have people who are on the baking side also, irrespective they're vegans or not vegans. A lot of people just want to include vegan products on their menu. All right. So how do we shift is, of course, by learning and understanding what are the ingredients that you can actually use to swap. All right. So I'll do a little brief on how do you swap few ingredients to understand baking. So we go to the next. Of course, you have to educate yourself. And we always start small. Nothing happens overnight. If you are in the transition phase, a transition does take time. For some people, it takes hardly a few days. For some people, it takes months. So each for their own. Go to the next. How do we replace the negative ingredients by positive? By negative ingredients here, I typically mean is animal ingredients with something that's plant-based. We go to the next. So what does eggs actually do to our breads and cakes? It gives body, it gives texture, it gives the smoothness, right? That's how you'll see eggs as, okay? Now in plant-based baking, how will you be replacing eggs? Is basically by using flax seeds, isabgol, that's psyllium husk, or chia seeds. All these 3 are laxative in nature. The moment you mix all these with water, they tend to form something like a gel, okay, which helps bind ingredients together. Now, someone will ask that, Priya, why eggs aren't great? All right. See, we are mammals. Chicken, eggs, cow, all of these are mammals, right? And the moment we consume a product that comes from another mammal, we are imbibing their hormones into our body, and that's where the hormonal imbalance is started, and could cause dermatitis, your celiac diseases, any kind of autoimmune diseases as well. All right, this is how I look at animal products of what I've learned and studied, to realize that the animal products were never meant for us for consumption. Now everyone will tell that Krishna Bhagwan ne bhi to doodh aur makhan khaya tha, but obviously the way cows were treated back then is nothing close to what the dairy industry does these days. Okay, so when we come to dairy, dairy is highly used to give hydration to our bread, cakes, cookies. All right. How will we be replacing it? Is basically with almond milk, soy milk, cashew milk, walnut milk, millet milk, rice milk. You can make milk from a lot of other ingredients as well. All right. People make it with ragi, sesame seeds. So all these are ways that you can make it. And I kind of focus on, all these milks that you can make at home rather than buying the Tetra packs, because again, it goes back to adding preservatives to it. All right. So we go to the next. Butter gives taste, it gives body, it gives texture. How do we replace it? People who are on a whole food plant-based diet, obviously for them it will be pumpkin puree, it would be nut butters, applesauce. All right. If you are talking about just the plant-based aspect, just a little about eating cleaner food, you can add minimal amount of cold pressed sunflower oil or coconut oil. All right. Butter is saturated fat. I wouldn't say that coconut isn't, but the fat content in the butter, because it comes from the animal source, is way higher. All right. We go to the next. Now, sugar, white sugar is by default vegan, okay? Unless until in some processing, a lot of people say that it's processed with gelatin. I'm not too sure. I read few articles on it. Now, what's there with white sugar? So white sugar is nutritionally poor. All it does is spikes up your insulin and does nothing else. White sugar is supposed to be as potent or 10 times more potent than cocaine, which is a drug. Okay. Now, what are the healthier options? I would say healthiest would be your fruit-based purees that comes from apricot, prunes, dates, raisins. Okay. The next, I won't say clean. See, any kind of sugar is processed. I wouldn't say jaggery is better than sugar or date palm sugar is better, but they have slight amount of minerals versus the white sugar because of they are, how it goes is basically you have sugarcane, the juice is removed, the juice is cooked. That's why the jaggery comes. Later on, it gets further processed to make white sugar. It gets bleached, and that's how the white sugar is, which is bleached out with all the minerals in it. So in case of jaggery, coconut sugar, and date palm sugar, at least there's minimal amount of minerals, which makes it slightly, possibly negligibly, slightly better than white sugar. Okay, but this is the route that any one of us should be taking. Ideally, avoid sugars as much as you can, but this is the route anyone will take. Okay, we go to next. Okay, all of us are well aware we shouldn't be eating maida, we should be eating whole grains. Why should we be eating whole grains? Because you have huge amount of fiber that comes from the endosperm. That's the outer covering. All right. The moment the endosperm goes, the gluten content is higher and all you get is refined flour. All right. Go to the next. Replacing wheat with gluten-free. Is wheat that bad that you shouldn't be consuming it? No. See, unless there are people who are celiac. Celiac are people who cannot digest gluten in any form at all. First of all, what is gluten? Gluten is a protein component that you find in wheat, barley, and rye. Okay, naturally present. Now, people who are celiac, they just cannot digest gluten. Now, what is wrong with gluten? What is wrong with wheat that suddenly wheat is something we've been eating for ages altogether? So what's happened is earlier we had a wheat that was called Emma, the Khapli wheat. The gluten content in it, was 1%. Okay. But over the years, because of the industrialization, what has happened is it has got genetically modified and the gluten content has become 5%. Then what's happened now, if there is 5% gluten, we have started eating wheat in so many other forms that 3 times a day we are eating roti. In between, we are eating bread, we're eating cookies, we are consuming this gluten in so many more forms that it could cause irritation, bloating, and some autoimmune diseases over a period of time. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't be eating wheat. The idea is to consume the gluten-free grains as well to balance the amount of gluten that's actually going into your body. Now, what does gluten does is a lot of people say ki gluten goes into your intestines, sticks to your intestines. There's been one meme that has been going viral on Instagram as well. So, ideally, what happens? Gluten activates some enzyme in your intestines, which makes your intestine walls very permeable. That means anything that you eat gets filtered into your bloodstream, good, bad, everything. And that's where the autoimmune diseases start. All right. Now, if you're gluten sensitive or celiac, it's highly possible. But if you have been okay eating gluten, shouldn't be a worrisome thing. But I personally, I have felt a lot of difference that I had some skin allergies that kind of cleared when I cut down on the wheat consumption. Okay, this is a personal, again, experience that I've had. So gluten-free flours, what are the gluten-free flours? We have, our country has been rich in gluten-free grains. We have makki ka atta, which is going to be in season now. We have corn flour. We have oats. We have proso, kodo, quinoa, brown top, and bajra, sorghum, ragi. All these are gluten-free by default, until they are processed in a facility which processes ingredients which has products which has wheat. All right, so we go to the next. So yeah, I'm not saying that should stop everything overnight, guys. Everyone has a way of looking at food. Find a balance. Personally, on a personal front, I have my cheat days. Cheat days for me is eating maida. I do like pizzas when I go out. I can't ask people to make whole wheat or gluten free until I try if that option is there. If it's not there, I do eat my burgers which are vegan, or pizzas which are vegan. So you need to find a balance which comforts you. Okay, so always just go that way. Don't stop living. Live healthy, and of course enjoy what you eat. Yeah, so you go to next. So these are the myths that it tastes bland. Funnily, that I feel more than 50% of our Indian vegetarian food is by default vegan. Okay, it's just that we don't look at the food as under that category. Hence, we make it look like vegan is something that doesn't fall into something that we want to indulge. If you are a North Indian, I come from a Punjabi family. I tend to eat my rajma, chane, aloo gobi, or bhindi. Everything is vegan. Your dal, you just need to change your tadka. You do it with oil, without oil, that's completely your choice. If you're in the south, your idli, dosa, rasam, and different kind of your porridges, but everything is by default vegan. So there's nothing much that you really need to worry about in terms of how do we consume uh, plant-based food. All right, so we go to the next. Difficult to make at home? Absolutely not. In terms of baking also, there's nothing that you really need to worry, because everything is easy. When you understand that you're eating clean ingredients, you get motivated to make it as well. You go to the next. Ingredients these days are so accessible that you have to just click a button on the portal and buy. We go to the next. Okay, so guys, I have two recipes that I'll play for y'all, which are 100% vegan, plant-based. One is from my 100% whole wheat workshop, which is a classic French baguette. Another recipe is a gluten-free zucchini bread. Okay, don't worry. The recording you'll be getting the PDF also of this session. All right. So if you want to make notes, you can, else it'll be shared. So I'll come back to y'all with any more questions, any questions that you would have post this.
Now we're making a zucchini breakfast loaf. Most of us do have this whole idea about how would we even use zucchini in our breakfast breads. Here is a very simple yet yummy recipe. Let's dive in straight to the recipe. First, I'm going to take flax meal. So these are unsalted, unroasted flax seeds which I've ground into seeds. And to this I'm adding 6 tablespoons of water and keeping aside for about 10 to 15 minutes for it to gelatinize. And now we're going to make our own oat flour. I've taken rolled oats, taking half the quantity of the rolled oats and grinding it into a flour. So this is what we're looking for. And we are making our own almond flour, unroasted, unsalted almonds. Just grind them. Add the almond flour into the bowl. We are adding rest of our dry ingredients into this. The remaining rolled oats, white rice flour. You can replace it to brown rice flour. Potato starch. So potato starch gives a good body to our breads. So in this particular recipe, I am using two starches, that's potato starch and tapioca starch. You can replace these starches to arrowroot or use any one kind of starch. Baking powder, baking soda, salt. Just give this a good mix. Then coming to the wet ingredients. So in a bowl, I'm going to add grated zucchini. So this is green zucchini. You can add yellow as well. Oil, sweetener, apple cider vinegar, and if you wish, you can add some seasonings of your choice, but I highly recommend it. And now the flax egg. Just give it a nice stir and add it in. Give a mix to your wet ingredients, and now add the dry ingredients into it. And with the help of cut and fold method, mix it in. So this is the method so that you are incorporating air. So it's cut and fold. Cut and fold. So we're going to do this only till all our ingredients have come together. We do not want to overmix, otherwise the bread is going to become very dense. So only till your dry ingredients are well incorporated, you are going to do the cut and fold method. Just be patient and don't go ahead adding water, because zucchini once comes in contact with salt and other ingredients, it starts leaving out its own water. So this is what we're looking for. We have a nice dough. And now take your baking pan and put it in and even it out. We're going to even out the top, and we're going to bake this at 180 degrees Celsius for about 30 to 35 minutes.
Okay, so before playing the second video, we would like to open the chat box now. You can type in your queries now.
Yeah, guys, you'll be getting the recording. Don't worry. I'm putting my, in case you have any doubts with regard to the recipes, though I'm going to be answering here, you can reach out to my Instagram in case. So, yeah, questions.
Okay, Priya, I'll just play the second video first.
Potato starch is easily available, guys. So potato starch can be swapped for for the other starches like arrowroot and corn flour or even tapioca starch. The 100% whole wheat, this recipe is specifically with wheat, and I've used instant yeast. We'll play this and then we'll come back again.
So now we're making a crusty French bucket. It is one of the super versatile breads. Cut it into half-inch rounds. Use it as the base for your crostini or bruschetta. Eat it with your favorite party dip. Eat it with a bowl of pasta or a warm bowl of soup. It is just so satisfying. Made with just 4 simple ingredients: flour, water, salt and yeast. That's about it. It is a super simple recipe, so let's dive into it. So in a bowl, take warm water, add your yeast into it and let it sit for about 2 minutes. Let it dissolve. Meanwhile, in another bowl, we're going to sieve our 100% whole wheat flour and the salt. Always make sure you sieve your whole grains. It just gives a lighter texture to your bread. Right, we're going to keep this aside. We'll wait for our yeast to dissolve. Our yeast is dissolved. You can use a whisk to break the lumps. Make a well in the center of the flour. We're going to add our yeast and water mix into it and we'll begin to knead and get everything together. There's not much kneading required because this is more like an artisanal loaf that we'll be doing. Just mix it well and then we can do stretch and folds for strengthening the gluten. So if you realize, we do not use any fat in baguettes. So it's a 100% oil-free, fat-free bread. That's what gives it the crusty and the chewy texture. As we begin to mix, in case if you need some more water, a tablespoon or 2, you can add. You have to mix it till you see no dry flour anymore. We need a stiff dough. It is not a soft dough. So if you need a tablespoon or 2 of water, you can add. You don't want to see any dry flour. Don't make the dough too soft. Right, so this is what we have. And now we'll begin kneading it. Now how would you manually knead a dough is, hold it, start rubbing it and get it back. Change the side, push it, get it back, and the pressure is just from your palm. Turn it, rub it, get it back. Turn, rub, get it back, and that's how you'll keep doing this till the dough comes together and it doesn't break too much. So you can use a KitchenAid for this if you have one, but this is how you would be kneading otherwise. So roughly get it together. Might take about 5 to 7 minutes of kneading. So make sure how you're kneading is exactly this. With the pressure of your palm, you're just going to push it and get it back. Do not like rub it because the gluten is not strengthening that way. You're breaking the gluten. So push it and get it back. Push it and get it back. So once your dough is come together, we are going to place it in a greased bowl. Use a wet cloth to cover it, and we're going to keep this to rest and to rise for about 1.5 to 2 hours or till doubles, and then we'll get back to it. So our dough for the baguettes has been resting for about 1.5 hours. So this is what it looks like. It's risen well. So at this point what we're going to do is punch it, get it together, get it on a countertop, and we will portion them equally. Now the shaping, just press it down into a rectangular, just roll it to the center, the other side goes on top, and press this, pinch the seam to seal it, and now just roll it oblong to the length of your choice. Ideally the diameter of this is 5 to 6 centimeters and the length you can decide anywhere between 56 centimeter to 1 meter too, and if you want to make mini baguettes, so even about a 12 inch is good. Just pinch the sides and shape it well. So this is what we have. We're going to keep this, go to the next. Always pinch the seam and with firm yet gentle hands just roll it into a thin long log. It'll at least double in size, so keep that in mind when you decide the length. Take a baking tray, take a kitchen towel, dust it with flour and place these equidistant, folding between the cloth parallelly. So this is how you're going to be able to shape it. You really don't need a special tray for this. We are going to rest this for about 30 minutes before we bake this. So once this is done, you're going to use a wet cloth to cover this and let it rise for 30 minutes or till doubles. So our baguettes have been resting for close to 30 minutes and they are well risen. So this is what they look like. I'm going to transfer these on the baking tray. Just space it according to the size of your baking tray. So these are well risen, transferred on the baking tray. Make sure while transferring you do not puncture out the air. And now we're going to dust this with the flour. So this is what's going to give you that artisanal look. So after you've dusted them, you're going to score them to anything of your choice. However, one straight line or 3 parallel lines. So we score so that when the bread expands, it expands through these cuts, and that's what gives it a more rustic look. So we are going to bake this in a preheated oven for about 35 to 40 minutes or longer if required. So here are our crusty French baguettes. So we let them cool for at least an hour before we slice them.
Does the yeast does the yeast activate without sugar? Yes, but it takes slightly longer. Only instant yeast it's possible. Instant yeast. So what's the difference between instant yeast and active dry yeast? Is basically active dry yeast. The outer layer is dry, okay, and it needs activation and happens with warm water and sugar itself. There are dead particles on the outside. Okay, that's the reason active dry yeast is always activated versus the instant yeast. But I tend to use instant yeast, similar how active dry yeast is used, so that I know that the active yeast is actually active. Okay, like both the yeast to check how active they are. If you do it the sugar way, you know the potency of it. All right.
Okay, Priya, let's just cover the details of the course that you have with us, the e-learning course.
So, guys, the baguette was a part of my e-learning course that is healthy breads and vegan spreads. And if you're interested, all right, just running through ASAP that it will cover more than 15 kinds of breads. There are sesame, coriander kulcha, bagels, calzones, focaccia, garlic bread, pita pockets, and a braided bread, and dinner roll, sandwich loaf, burger buns, hot dog buns, herb breadsticks, crusty French baguette. Like I said, it was a part of this pizza base, and of course, you can build on the recipes from here on. And as a complimentary, I have some vegan spreads. Some of them are whole food plant based as well. Actually, most of them. Apple chia jam and cacao hazelnut spread, Thai peanut sauce, creamy beetroot tahini, carrot hummus, pineapple guacamole, bruschetta dip, and dill pesto, garlic cream cheese, roasted bell pepper dips. So these are the complimentary along with this. And I have a live program that's happening day after, of which the zucchini bread that we covered is a part of it. All right. But through the session, I'll be covering in the live, I'll be covering 4 recipes. That is the keto pumpkin loaf, nut and seed loaf, lemon loaf, and banana walnut loaf. And plus, you'll be getting 6 recipes, a recording extra, like one of which was the zucchini breakfast loaf. We have quinoa garlic bread, almond keto bread, zucchini cacao cake, sorghum flatbread, and masala millet bread. So basically, altogether 10 recipes. But in the live, I'm doing only 4. The rest you'll be given the access to the recording of for a year. All right. So
Yes.
Tanishka will just run through about the program and then I'll take up all the questions. I already there quite a few.
Yeah, so I just wanted to mention that the details which we have covered of healthy breads and vegan spreads is an e-learning course. So e-learning courses are the pre-recorded courses that you can access for 1 year. This won't be live. This is a pre-recorded course. You'll be getting access to it for 1 year. And in this, there are 20 plus recipes, the 3.5 hours of recipe videos. And Priya, I've covered a lot in this course. Then the next is the live workshop that we are doing on 15th, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., in which we'll be covering 4 recipes live, and other 6 you will be getting videos, as well as you will be getting it along with the recipe ebook. So you'll be getting 6 bonus recipes as a written recipe and videos also, and you will be covering 4 recipes live, and recipe ebook of those 4 recipes will also be shared. You will be getting access to the recording for 1 year. And yes, that's it. We'll also be covering some baking techniques, tips, and hacks, and recipe book with 10 recipes will be shared. So this is the offer of the day. You can go for the whole wheat breads and vegan spreads e-learning course that is valued at 699, whereas the actual price was 999. It is at 30% discount. You can go for the live workshop, that is gluten-free and vegan breads live workshop. You can get it at 999 on 20% discount. You can get e-learning course plus the live workshop at 1598, which is at 30% discount. You can also scan the QR code clearly flashing on your screen, or you can also make the payment via UPI, GPay, or Paytm. The number is clearly visible on your screen. What you have to do is just share the payment screenshot along with your details, name, number, email ID, and city. I really want to address this or mention this again, that this offer is only valid for today. I am also sharing all the details in the chat box once. And as we have promised you to share the guilt-free festive delights recipe ebook as complimentary for those who have joined us here live, I will be sharing that also. Priya, we can take up the questions now.
Yeah. Okay. I'll just read through. स्टार्टर यूज कर सकते हैं ग्लूटेन फ्री. यूल हैव टू, अगर ग्लूटेन फ्री आप ब्रेड बनाओगे आपको ग्लूटेन फ्री ही स्टार्टर बनाना पड़ेगा उसके लिए. ऑफ कोर्स यू कैन यूज इट बट नॉट ऑल रेसिपीज यू कैन डायरेक्टली स्वैप as a starter. Between extra virgin coconut oil and between the virgin olive oil, which one is better? Ideally, guys, fat is fat, but olive oil Extra virgin olive oil is always used only for tossing salads and stuff. Okay, it's never cooked because it doesn't have a high smoking point. Did you grind the flaxseed powder? Yes. Unroasted, unsalted flaxseed, just ground. Can we make it yeast free? Yeast free is only possible if you go the sourdough way, but there is no direct swap to the recipe. Baking soda and baking powder both are considered unhealthy. Any alternative? So, guys, see, now that's what I said. The definition of health is very different for each one of us. Okay. People who are following a whole food plant-based diet also to a large extent for as a rising agent, they tend to use baking powder, baking soda. But if you do not want to use baking powder, baking soda, the only way, I'm not telling as a direct swap to the recipe, but the only way that you can give rise to your breads could be the sourdough way. That's another very different technique. Gitika, vegan cakes and breads, if you can connect me on, on my Instagram, I keep having workshops with Wellcure otherwise as well. So you can have a look at it. Preheating time, 10 minutes about. The PDF of today's session, Tanishka, you'll be sharing it in the group, right?
Yeah.
Coconut milk is not necessary for at least the recipes that I have covered. Can we use conventional mode in microwave? Depends on what you're baking. Gluten-free, somehow my students tried the gluten-free part. The breads didn't come out well. The whole wheat still were able to work around. The texture of yeast plus milk plus sugar and yeast plus water. Texture won't. The final product is basically you'll have more sweeter bread, like more flavorful bread. Is the only difference I have seen. Otherwise, not. Otherwise, I don't see much of a difference. If you're telling that there's some kind of sugar in milk also, because of that there's some extra rice, no, I don't feel. I've not seen much of a difference. If it in terms of blooming the yeast, if that was a particular question, Juma, this is to answer your question. Preheating time. The preheating temperature is the same as the baking temperature. Preheating time again depends on oven to oven. 10 minutes is what I suggest. Is using yeast a healthier option? See, personally, I avoid eating yeasted breads in a long run. If someone says that eat yeasted breads every single day, no, I'm not going to do that. Okay. I find the sourdough breads come out really better, but if you are in a haste, like not every child might acquire the sourdough taste, so doing yeast breads are good. Both the recipes, 3 days room temperature, 7 days if refrigerated. Vegan cheese. I do cheese workshops, guys. Just connect to me on my Instagram. I do a lot of workshops. So yeast, like I said, the instant yeast automatically get activated once you've added the flour to it because of the natural sugars present in the flour. Okay, if you're using active dry yeast, you will have to add sugar to activate it. Baking necessary items for starters and oven for which brand? See, honestly, this is not sponsored, but from the beginning, from the time I started baking, I've been using Morphe Richard. Ideally, that is fine. And you now depends. See, some people they love cooking savory. Okay, some people love doing breads, cakes. Now you need to find out what really interests y'all. Can you replace coconut sugar with other ingredients for diabetic? Yes, but you might have to tweak the recipe. Sorry. You might have to tweak the recipe a little. How do you bake without oven? You'll have to give me options. A lot of people who do it on the gas as well by putting some salt in the cooker without the whistle and then baking it. But it is not possible for each and every recipe, guys. Cakes mostly, yes. Starches, see, I have used tapioca and potato starch. You can use potato starch is actually a heavier kind of starch versus all the starches. So potato starch, tapioca starch, arrowroot, corn flour, all these are swappable. And actually, this is the only one recipe where I'm using starches. None of my other gluten-free recipes use starch, at least from the content that I'll be covering. Yes, you can use only one kind of starch. The zucchini breakfast loaf is without yeast. Zucchini looks like Loki or cucumber. It is between Loki and cucumber. Can we replace olive oil with refined oil? Yes, you can. Can I skip zucchini? You'll have to add some kind of like a vegetable, say like a bottle gourd, carrot, or beetroot to give a little body. Otherwise, the recipe will change. Yes, you can use the convention mode. Is the bread as fluffy as normal breads? No, not at all. I'm going to give this disclaimer without any guilt. See, it's not. It's not. All right. Here we are using whole grains in most of the recipes. We're grinding our own flours. The output is not going to be soft as what you use maida breads at all. What can we use instead of oats and zucchini? See, now oats in itself is a very dense flour. If you're swapping the flour, you usually tend to do a combination of flours, like say a brown rice flour or a rice flour along with almond flour. Okay, so there's usually a combination of flour then it's used. But again, the recipes that I'll be covering and I have covered in this e-learning and the live, all these are foolproof. Any changes that you're going to do, obviously, it's going to change the entire technique of doing. Where do you get potato starch, guys? Easily available on Amazon. Our starch is good for health. Again, starches in minimal quantities. I would say starches depends on what the rest of the ingredients are also. If your starch is this much, the other ingredients are this much, then that's a problem. Okay, but your starches are minimal. I have added starches to give body to the recipe, nothing else. All right. Can we use mashed potatoes? You can use mashed potatoes, but the recipe will change. I would just say that. You can use arrowroot. Hiral Shah, you can use arrowroot. Guys, just dropping my Instagram in case if you'll have any questions with regard to any recipes while you are at it, you can certainly reach out to me. And in case you're signing up for any of the e-learning courses, if you'll have any questions, you can even reach out to me on Instagram saying that you've bought this course, you're stuck here, or this is the output, what can I do better, or you love the output with all that. Can you use banana instead of flaxseed? The recipe will surely change. I've been using a KitchenAid as a stand mixer. OTG, guys, like I have been using Moffat Richard and it's been working really well for me. How to store sourdough mixture. So I'll be covering this in the sourdough session. Shweta, I didn't understand your question about the science of baking. I do cover not completely, but you can get in touch with me. I will connect you with someone. Can I get a recording of this session? Yes, the recording will be there. Yeast or baking powder, which is better? It depends on how your body digests what's better. Okay, ideally, guys, see, I am vegan. I'm say 90% gluten free. Like I said, I do cheat, do maida, I do my aloo ka paratha made with whole wheat at times. What is better is you need to decide. For me, yeasted breads in the long run, every single day I won't be able to eat. And how much do you tend to eat? Logically think, guys, how much bread are you going to eat every single day? How much of cakes or cookies are you going to eat every single day? All right. Logically, none of us as Indians, I don't think we tend to consume. So automatically our consumption is low. Yes, I do teach sourdough, but we'll be doing the sourdough after the winters now, maybe around February, March, because I just finished a session a couple of days ago. With regard to the whole wheat, the recipe that I've covered, guys, I would any day suggest use organic whole wheat flour and instant yeast. I have used Glory Pan, GOLRIPAN. It is available on Amazon. And if you have any baking store around you, they'll give you in smaller quantities also. Yes, a lot of ingredient brands make a lot of difference while you're baking. vegan cakes icing is possible. So I'll tell you again, like I said, now what is the difference between plant-based and vegan? Let me tell you, if you're talking about the baking aspect. Plant-based, I'm focusing on completely clean food as possible. When you say about vegan, I can still eat maida, I can still eat white sugar, I can still eat icing sugar, I can eat the soya, the non-dairy, that cream that is available in the market. All these are vegan ingredients. Okay, so if you're telling in vegan ingredients, is icing possible? 100% it is possible. Can you get amazing cakes? If you're using margarine, dalda in your cakes, your breads can be amazing. Breads, baking, everything will be amazing, but I don't focus on that side at all of what I teach. Okay, but if the answer is what's possible, certainly it is. The temperature, see guys, ideally 200 to 220 is great for baking, but again it depends from oven to oven. Thank you, Juma, for that. Is the desi khand better than yes, again, desi khand, it has some amount of molasses, so it's considered slightly better than refined sugar. Can you replace potato starch? Like I said, okay, I've covered that part. Healthy cookies, guys, any other workshops, just reach out to me on Instagram, so that I have a list of y'all. So as and when I have workshops, I'm like putting you in the loop of updating y'all. That's my Instagram, and you can certainly reach out to me in case of any questions that you would have. Glory pan, I'll just put it here.
Okay, meanwhile, someone was asking about the details of the recipes we'll be covering in the e-learning course as well as in the live workshop. I'll just go through it. Priya, you can just go through the questions. I will just keep switching on the slide.
Yeah. Stand mixer, I've been using KitchenAid, guys, but there are a lot of brands these days. If you check your Amazon, and even like your local vendors, there are a lot of brands which are on way cheaper prices and amazing quality. So please do a proper market research before buying, because KitchenAid, their after sales service is again very expensive. So I won't suggest in the long run to actually buy KitchenAid. Do you have donut and bombolini? I do a lot of Chinky. I do a lot of baking workshops. Can you make peanut paneer? Yes, you can make peanut paneer out of peanut milk. It's an acquired taste, but you've been a vegan or in a transition, you will have to acquire the taste, guys. See, something that we have not eaten in so many years, and suddenly you tend to eat, and obviously, to get accustomed to it will take time. All right. When you were a child, even eating a lemon took us a lot of faces that we made before we got that the lemon tastes this way. Okay. Similarly, any ingredient that you're going to replace for your chai or making your milk or your paneer is an acquired taste. Instagram, guys, I have, and so many recipes actually I put out on my Instagram as well that might actually be helpful, which is completely vegan and mostly gluten free too. Thank you. Yes, I'll be doing the sourdough session next sometime around Feb, guys, because the winters, even sometimes people who stay in the north have a tough time and you won't understand what it's supposed to look like. So we resume for sourdough. We do 4 times or 5 times a year. If you love just cooking and baking, you see, it's a different perspective of, yes, you can cook without dairy as well. Okay, if you're looking from that way, okay, tomorrow if I don't have a dairy ingredient, I want to bake. How will I do it? So there is millet sourdough I do, guys. That's why I'm saying please be connected. There are a lot of sessions. I would have just finished and people reach out to me saying that, we missed. Diksha, the recording will be given to you all. Thank you, Arati. Thank you, Gayatri. Millet sourdoughs, yes, I do. Keep a track. Soon after the winters are over, around Feb, I'll be starting. Thank you, Diksha. Thank you, guys. Have a great evening, and hopefully seeing you all soon. People who ever join for the next session, that's day after. I will see you all. Thanks, Emma. Thanks, Sunita, Shalini, Abu, Rashmi, Radhika. Means a lot, Radhika. Thank you. Ruchi, Anu. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the kisses. Thank you, Rajeshwari, Priyadarshini, Aisha, Gitika. Gluten concept. See, gluten is basically a protein component that is naturally present in barley, wheat, and rye. Naturally. Okay. And not everyone can digest gluten. Either they are celiac. Celiac matlab they just cannot, they don't have the enzymes that can digest gluten. All right. Now there are people who are gluten intolerant also. That means they have allergies because of gluten. Okay. Either dermatitis or constipation is the biggest way to understand that gluten is not being digested too well. So what happens when gluten goes into your intestines? It activates certain kind of enzymes which makes the walls of your intestine very permeable. That means they make it very thin. Okay. So the moment you start eating, what's the role of your intestine? Intestine has villi. So basically they filter out good food and that goes into your bloodstream, and the bad food basically gets flushed out from your rectum, right? Now if your villi is damaged because of constant eating of gluten, any good bad food, everything goes into your bloodstream, and that causes a lot of autoimmune diseases over a period of time. All right. But if you're the kids till a certain age, they just can't digest anything at all. See, we had never heard about children being lactose intolerant. Even my mom didn't know the term. I'm 36 today, but my mom didn't know the term of lactose intolerant even till few years back, till I actually turned vegan, and I told her that I'm feeling so much better um, not eating dairy. Okay. And I come from a Punjabi family where I've heavily been fed with dairy all my childhood. And my mom, all she saw me was eating, sneezing, being sick most of the days. But over the years, like at least 1, 2 years passed, and she told me, Priya, this is the first time that I'm seeing you. In the last 5 years, guys, I can count and tell you that only during COVID, I popped in one dolo. That is the count, versus 15 years of my life where I have taken anti-allergic pills every single day. This is my personal observation on how my body has healed. Okay. And even till today, I had chikungunya 15 days back. I went completely off. I didn't take a single pill. My body bounced back. It took possibly this similar amount of time as much as someone else who was down with chikungunya and they were taking medicines. Actually, there's no medication for chikungunya. All you need to do is hydrate yourself till the virus in your body is actually flushed out. So basically, once you get out from the loop of consuming medicines, your body tends to bounce back very quick. Unless until, guys, extreme cases, I won't say you should be taking a chance. The moment you feel that your body is not in a state of taking something, please visit the doctor and please take your injections and medication wherever possible. But your common cold, if you start treating that with medicine every single day, that's where the problem arises. You need to get to the root cause and clear it out. And most of the times, it is possibly the way, our lifestyles in the sense you're not working out, what you're eating, it's not digesting well, you're not eating enough fiber. So mostly it is this. And please be connected on my Instagram, guys. I'm going to share a lot of information that possibly could change a lot of things for y'all. Okay, just the way you look at food. Actually, we need to just go back to our grandparents' time and think that what was available. You didn't have food selling off the shelves. Everything was done manually. They're washing clothes, they're grinding. We have lost that touch. So instead of that, we're going to the gym, we're going to the parks, we are playing games, we're doing all this. So it is just about going back. And of course, we can't really go off the radar of being in a polluted city as much as it wasn't a couple of years ago. So as much as you can prevent yourself, and eat more of home food. It's not that you don't get good food outside, it's just that you need to understand what to eat, what not to eat without any guilt. Okay? Personal experiences, guys. All right. Thank you so much, Janki. Thank you. Thank you, Sakshi. Guys, take care of yourselves and see you on the other side and have a great evening. Thanks,
Yeah.
Vika.
So here's the offer of the day. I'm just keeping it short
Thanks,
now.
Nikisha.
Yeah, I'll just keeping it short. You can go for the whole wheat breads and vegan spreads e-learning course at only 699. You can go for gluten-free and vegan breads live workshop, which we'll be doing on 15th at 999 on 20% discount. It is available for now. And you can go for e-learning course plus live workshop at 1598, whereas the actual price was 2248. It is a on 30% discount. You can make the payment via UPI also. Number is on the screen, and you can share the payment screenshot along with the details, name, number, email ID, and city. And I have already shared all the details in the WhatsApp group. You can check that out. Okay,
Rabia, what is e-learning? E-learning is basically, I have pre-recorded, I've already recorded some courses to which you can just access and watch at your own pace. रात को देखो, दिन को देखो, जहाँ भी बैठकर देखो. All right? It is that. It's a pre-recorded course.
and you can access that for 1 year.
Yes. And of course, any questions, there's a drop down, you can put your questions there, or best way, you can reach out to me on Instagram. Sindhu, if you missed the live session, you will be getting the recording of it for a 1 year. 1 year, don't worry about it.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for joining in. You can ask all your queries in the WhatsApp group now. I'll be there to support you and answer all your queries there. I have already shared all the details in the WhatsApp group. You can check that out and ask your queries in the group. Okay,
All right,
thank you.
bye. Bye, guys. Have a
Yeah,
great
we are
evening.